Hi, I'm Vishwesh, and this is my enhanced version of Unity's Rollerball tutorial. So, I built this game on top of Unity's Rollerball tutorial, making it as a baseline. So, come going into how I built this game. So I have these seven scripts here, out of which four scripts are completely custom for this game, and then we have three other scripts which are borrowed from Unity and made some improvements to fit into the gameplay. And then, if you look at the hierarchy, we have two scenes here. One is the simple natural pack demo, which comes as a prefab from the Unity's Fab store, and it gives the little mountain and rocky terrain to the scene. And then we have the main rollerball scene, which defines our gameplay or the game feel. So we have main camera in it. So the main camera is attached to a camera controller script. So this camera controller script technically controls the movement and everything of the camera. And then we have a player object. It's a rigid body object and it has the in-player input attached to it. So the player input takes in WASD and the standard arrow keys as inputs to navigate within the play field. And then it also comes with a player controller script attached to it. So this player controller script defines the movement and behavior of the player ball in the play area or in the scene or in the gameplay. So, and it also comes with two particle effects. One is collectible effect. This effect is triggered whenever the player collides with the collectible objects, and depth effect. This is triggered whenever the player collides with the depth particle, and it has a bounding wall to limit the play area and like prevent player moving out of the play area. And we have this left, right, top, and bottom walls in the hierarchy. And then we have a canvas. So this is used to display the player score and the end screen whenever the game is over. And then we have a collectible spawner. So this spawner takes in an array of three different prefab cubes. So these prefabs are cylindrical collectible object, cuboid collectible object, and spherical collectible object. So this collectible spawner takes in these three and spawns random shaped collectibles at random positions around the player. So it is attached with the collectible spawner script. So this script is responsible for spawning the objects around the player. And these prefabs are attached with pickup rotator and collectible lifespan scripts. So these two scripts are responsible for maintaining the lifespan of the collectible object and make it as a dead particle, and then have a little animation of moving the collectible objects around it. And then we have obstacle walls. So these are added to make the gameplay more engaging and interesting. So these obstructable walls move around the game and obstruct the movement of the player. So they come with rotating script. So the obstacle rotation script, which makes them rotate around the axis, as we see the same in the collectible objects. And it also comes with movement script, which makes them move from one corner to the other corner of the board or other corner of the game. So now let's look at the scripts. So this is the camera controller script. It is attached to the main camera. So it just tracks the player position and moves accordingly to give the third person view for the player. So it gets the current position of the player and then adjusts the main camera position based on the current position of the player. So this is the player controller script. So it is responsible for all the actions of the player. So it's done in fixed update, so it gets updated on every physics change in the gameplay. So it has on trigger entered. So this is called whenever there is an interaction with the pickup object and the player object. So whenever there's an interaction with the pickup object, it's called a collectible effect. It's a particle effect which gives like a small scene or a small animation of absorbing the collectible objects. And then it sets the collectible objects false and removes it from the play scene and then increases the player score. And this also does one more thing. If the player gets in contact with the dead pickup object, then it calls the game over sequence. So game over sequence calls the death sequence, making the velocity of the player to zero. And then the death sequence initializes a death effect, which is like dying effect of the player ball and shrinking it down. So it shrinks down the player ball and then hangs up the gameplay, displaying the game over screen. And then we have collectible spawner script. So this collectible spawner script is responsible for spawning different collectible objects from the array of prefabs around the player. So it spawns at a minimum radius of 15 to at a maximum radius of 30 around the player's current position. So it's a late update. It's done after everything on the scene is rendered. And then we have a collectible lifespan object. So this is triggered whenever a new collectible object is spawned into the scene. So it keeps track of the lifespan of the collectible object. So initially it's green color and then it changes to yellow when it expires 60% of its life. And then after the next 30% it moves to orange and then it moves to red. So red indicates it's in a danger zone, and if a player hits the red pickup object, then it calls a game over sequence, indicating that the game is over. And then we have pickup rotator script, so it is attached to the pickup prefab, so it adds a small animation of rotation of pickup objects. And we have obstacle movement script, so it is attached to the obstruction walls. So this enables the obstruction walls to move from one corner of the game to the other corner of the game, obstructing the movement of the player ball. So this is again obstacle rotation script. It's also similar to pickup rotation script. So it makes the obstacle wall rotate around its own axis.